Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today as we explore another fascinating English word. Today's word is election. So, what exactly does election mean? Well, simply put, an election is a formal and organized process where people choose someone for a position, usually in government or an organization, by voting. It's a B1 level noun, meaning it's a word you'll commonly encounter in everyday conversations and written materials. Think of it as the big day, when people get to have their say. In essence, an election is all about choosing a leader or making a decision through a vote. Now, let's delve a little deeper. How else can we say election? What are some synonyms for this important word? One common synonym is vote. While election refers to the entire process, vote is the individual act of choosing. For example, I cast my vote in the recent election. Another synonym is poll. A poll can refer to the act of voting, or more often the place where voting happens. For example, the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day. A third synonym is ballot. This refers to the actual piece of paper or electronic form used to make your choice in an election. For example, make sure to mark your ballot clearly during the election. And a more formal synonym is referendum. This typically refers to a vote on a specific issue, rather than a person. For example, the referendum on the proposed law will take place after the election. Finally, we have plebiscite. Similar to a referendum, it is a vote on a specific question by the people of a country or region. For instance, the country held a plebiscite to decide on its future. Now that we have some synonyms under our belt, let's consider the opposite side of the coin. What are some antonyms for election? What words represent the absence of a vote or choice? A good antonym is appointment. An appointment happens when someone is chosen for a position without a formal vote, often by someone already in power. For instance, the manager made an appointment to fill the vacant position, bypassing a formal election. Another antonym could be dictatorship. A dictatorship is a form of government where one person or a small group has absolute power and there are no free and fair elections. For example, the country transitioned from a dictatorship to a democracy with regular elections. Another contrasting word could be imposition, which describes the act of forcing something upon someone, the opposite of choosing freely. For example, the leader's decision was viewed as an imposition rather than a result of a democratic election. Now, let's think about how election is used in everyday life. You might hear about local elections for mayor or school board members. You might also hear about national elections for president or members of parliament. People often talk about registering to vote before an election. You might also hear phrases like election season or election results. Let's look at some more usage examples. The election will be held on November 5th. The candidate is campaigning hard in the lead up to the election. Turnout was low in the last election. The Election Commission is responsible for ensuring fair elections. The election results were very close. She won the election by a landslide. We need to make sure everyone has the opportunity to vote in the election. He is running for election. Now, let's consider some phrases that use the word election. To win an election means to receive the most votes and be chosen. To lose an election means to not receive enough votes. To rig an election is a serious accusation, meaning to cheat in an election to unfairly influence the outcome. Before the election is a common way to talk about the period leading up to voting day. After the election describes the time following the vote. An upcoming election means an election that will be held in the near future. To summarize, an election is a formal process of choosing someone by voting. We learned some synonyms like vote, poll, ballot, referendum, and plebiscite. We also explored antonyms like appointment and dictatorship. We saw how election is used in everyday conversations and phrases. And remember, election is a B1 level word, so you'll likely encounter it often. Thank you for joining me on Hello Word today. I hope you found this episode helpful. And now for a little request. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others find the show, and it really means a lot. Finally, I have a challenge for you. Can you create your own sentence using the word election? Share it as a comment under this video. I'd love to see what you come up with. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring the wonderful world of words.